Hey, it's David Dotson here, fellow entrepreneur and business strategist. And I am telling you, today is gonna rock your world. I am going to change your understanding and paradigm of your time forever. But I want to tell you a little bit about a little story that happened to me this week. I have to be honest, I don't have a tremendous wealth portfolio. I don't have this tremendous income from passive sources. And I ran into Mike this week. We'll just call him Mike. That is his name. But you know who you are, Mike. And I said, hey, Mike, what do you do? He said, well, I kind of travel around and have a couple masterminds with people, and I kind of volunteer here and there, and I travel around the world and do the things I really love to do. I'm going to Italy. We had a great conversation about life, and I thought, wow, Mike has really got some stuff figured out. And I said, well, I'm 50, and he said, I'm 52, or also. And I thought, okay, we have lived our lives both passionately and worked hard our lives, but he's sitting on passive income such that he can kind of decide what he wants to do with his time. And I am gratefully still working with you and running and operating my businesses. And I thought, wow, if I want to retire and have the kind of income I have today, I need to have a chat with Mike. And it got me to thinking about a wealth pyramid. How are we building our wealth? I'm going to take you through a conversation that starts with your time. I want you to think about your time in a new way. I want to tell you about your time as the sun. Now, I'm not an engineer, but I do know that the sun is the source of all energy on Earth. How does that happen? Well, the sun shines down. The sun shines down onto a plant. And that plant starts to grow. And that plant starts to grow bigger. And what it does, it absorbs the energy of the sun. And then an animal comes along and eats it, and then we come along and eat that animal, or we come along and eat that vegetable. But to understand that all energy comes from the source. Now let's think about the sun as your time. Your time. Now, if the sun is your time, and we have two landscapes. Let's change the color of our landscapes, actually. Let's say our landscape here is the forest, the Amazon. And these trees start growing, and 10 years later, we come back, 20 years later, and now you have a huge forest. Now let's take another scenario. Let's say you shine your light on the Gobi Desert or some other desert, and there's a bunch of rocks around here. And you shine your light like crazy. You're just shining all your time and energy into the desert. And you go 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. We ain't got nothing. I still got my rocks. Over here, Mike grew, we probably both started at 20, really earnest in our careers. Mike's over here with the Amazon rainforest, and I'm over here with a desert. Actually, I'm in between the two, but you get the point. Where we shine our time, where we invest our time in our business is going to give us what? It's going to give you results. Where we shine our light, where we shine our time over the course of time is going to equal our results. So I ask you, where are you shining your light? What are you shining it into? So by now you might be thinking, Dotson, you've lost your marbles. You're talking about the sun and my time and shining it, and where are you shining it? Well, let's bring that down one. let's bring it right into the three types of income, right? How does that relate to your income? I'm going to get into the pyramid in a minute, but I want to be really clear on the three channels of income. This first channel of active income. Well, what is active income? That is us, brute force, us working, our time, our energy, right? And how many of us are there? Well, I don't know about you, but there's only one of me. So you've got one you. That's your active income. Then we get into leveraged income. So we take our time, so we still have us, and we get smarter. And for me, I got smarter and I bought an asset, right? So I multiply that times an asset. In my case, it was a business. And I also multiplied that times leverage. I borrowed money and I created an asset and I managed it. And I got leverage on my asset. So it's me times the asset. So I started making more money. I started making what I like to call a little money machine. This was like, hey, I kind of figured something out. I thought it was pretty smart going from active and getting into this leveraged income. It's kind of exciting. Well, then you meet a guy like Mike, and Mike says, well, that's kind of cool, Dotson. You figured out this leverage stuff, but I'm kind of over here. I got an asset, and I've taken my money, and I've invested it. So this is my money machine. This is Mike's money machine. Mike's money machine is just the asset. It's the real estate, right? I'm the tenant. I'm renting my business from Mike. Mike's over here with the land going, okay, let's keep going. And what happens over time is we transfer our active income. We take some of it, we live on it. We take some of it and we've got to start investing it in our leveraged asset. And don't forget over time to take some of this leveraged income and start putting it into passive income. So again, if we just take, let me create a little story, right? We start out and we start working as an accountant, and we start working hourly, and then we become a partner. And before we know it, we buy the accounting firm. Well, over time, you start saying, hey, I'm paying rent, and the landlord says, hey, I'm going to sell the building. You buy the building. Now, over a 30-year period, you retire from the accounting, and you not only have the business asset to sell, but you end up with the real estate. So these are the three types of income to think about. Now we're going to get into the pyramid scenario to take this one level deeper. So now that we've talked about your time and where you invest is so important, now we're going to look at this in the pyramid and over time. So all of us start out selling hours, selling services, right? Unleveraged income. It's your brute force. Maybe you gardened for people in high school and you made some money, right? So it starts out with your time. And let's assume in the beginning you're selling 40 hours or 80 hours of your time, but that's it. You get money, you get some wealth off of this time, and either you spend it or you start to invest in leveraged income. So that means in the beginning, maybe you bought a computer that helped you make more money, or maybe you went out and bought a business and that starts to make money. So this starts, leveraged income starts making money for you. So now your income is expanded. So before you were kind of tapped out here with the number of hours you had, and as you leverage your income, you get more wealth. Your company goes from, you buy it for $100,000, and 10 years later, you've put your energy and time into it, and just like the Amazon forest, it grows, and it grows in value. Now, your pyramid's starting to look pretty good. And then you meet a guy like Mike, and you say, Mike, talk to me. Tell me what you know that I don't know. Because Mike's talking about this down here, the Holy Grail, passive income. I'm like, I want to get some of that passive income. So what we have to do is start taking some of this income from our leveraged income and we start investing it down here. Maybe it starts out really small. Maybe we invest maybe we put $25,000 in somebody else's business and we have no work in it, and that business starts to grow and it starts to produce cash for us. And boy, now after a while, I have another $25,000 and I do that again. And before you know it, I have $100,000 and I go out and buy a piece of real estate, and I go to the bank and I get some leverage from the bank, and this passive income just starts growing, and that piece of property that I bought for $200,000 is now worth $1 million, and I start filling this up. So what happens over time? Your active time, your active energy starts flowing down, right? Flows down into your business. Your business then flows down into your passive income. Now we fast forward 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. We have all this income from our businesses, and we transferred even more into passive income. And eventually, if you're like Mike, you start doing this. And before you know it, this is Mike's life. Sure, he has to manage his assets. He has to call up and say, hey, did they pay the rent this month or this year? Or probably even those people that manage all that for him. So here's Mike. Here's Mike's life, right? And here's the rest of us. And those entrepreneurs that have built their businesses and been smart enough to start working on both leveraged and passive income, when they retire, guess what? They're making as much money as ever, but now their time is out on the golf course, or their time is being with their grandchildren, or whatever that might be. But this is how you take your time and invest it wisely in assets that can grow into your leveraged income. If you're shining your light in the desert, you're going to be spending the rest of your life in active income. And when you retire, that's going to be a big zero income in residual. And we all need to learn our lesson from Mike here and learn how to go from active income and transfer it into leveraged income, and then work on the tertiary holy grail of income, and that's your passive income. So I hope you've had as much of an aha as I did going through these ideas of, again, your time as the sun and where you're shining it, and then looking at the three flows of income and how we can build our own wealth pyramid over time. And before we close, there's just one thing I want to ask you. What one thing, what one aha in this conversation was like, hey, Dodson, you're onto something. I like that idea. What's that one idea? Just one. Not the 5 or 10. Hopefully you had 10. I'm boasting now. What's that one thing for you? What's that one aha? And let's take action on it right now. Right now. Let's take that idea, that inspiration. Okay, now let's get leverage on who? Leverage on you. I want to help you get leverage on you. You're the boss. You're the entrepreneur. What was that aha that you said, all right, I need to do that? And I just invite you to take one action that puts that into motion. If you're like, oh yeah, that's a good idea, that's something I better think about some real estate. Maybe you need to go and start educating yourself and learning about real estate investment, for example. You might go, Dodson, you're right, I really need to get another business I want to invest in. There's one I've been thinking about. How about looking at your income streams and how you're siphoning from active income into leveraged income into passive income? Maybe it's setting up a plan for the year to figure out how we're going to, save a little bit and where might you invest that. But I just invite you to take, before this video is done, what's that one action you can take, and take it now. Take the action that makes it happen, that starts the process. Pick up the phone and call the person you need to call. Go online and do the research you need to sign up for the course, or I'm not sure what that is for you. But do it now. Do it while you have the clarity of what you want in your life and where you want to take and how you want to grow your wealth pyramid. So with that, I really appreciate your time and attention, and I'd love your comments down below. And I am really looking forward to learning how this is impacting your life and growing your wealth. All for now.